I'm Hannah Hart, and this is Edible History, the show that takes our modern mouths on a journey through time itself. Today, we'll be unwrapping the history of tamales. For those who may not come across them often, tamales are a staple of Latin American cuisine. While I love tamales, I don't know anything about their history. Yet. Which is why I'm talking to Claudia Alarcón, a food historian with a special focus on Mexico. Can you tell me a little bit about the origins of the tamal?
The earliest evidence we have is from the Maya area. The oldest thing they have found is a mural in northern Guatemala that dates to about 200 BC. In the records that we have, they show us like round little balls. Today, they're made mostly flat or cylindrical.
Wow, so people have been making tamales for almost thousands of years.
It's a very ancient food in Mesoamerica.
Can you tell me a little bit about how they would prepare them?
The Maya did not leave recipe books, unfortunately for us, but we do know that they used the species of animals and plants that were available to them. We can hypothesize that, of course, they used the maize, the corn, to make the masa, and animal proteins probably such as iguana or fish or wild boar or turkey.
Can you tell me a little bit about how they would prepare the masa?
This is a process that was invented in the area of Mesoamerica that we refer to as Mixtalization. That softens it and makes it easier to grind and easier to digest and absorb the nutrients within the corn.
So can you tell us a little about the filling we'll be making today?
The recipe we're making today is a traditional Maya tamal that is called mukbang pollo. Because you're trying to research how things would have been made before the conquest, we're going to be making it with turkey, which was an ingredient readily available and endemic in the Maya area.
How do you think I'm gonna do today? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna start grinding, and I don't know when I'm gonna finish.
I'm sure you're gonna do well. You're gonna have some strong arms to grind that corn with that stone.
So the first step is nixtamalization. Intimidating name, intimidating process. Nixtamalization is a process of removing the husk from the corn and making it workable and edible. So here we go. We take our beautiful white corn kernels. We add our water, and last but not least, slacked lime. Now, I'm not referring to lime as in the fruit, I'm referring to lime as in limestone. This is calcium hydroxide, which is gonna serve as the activating agent in this process. When I picture masa, I always picture it as being kind of a yellowy powder, but this is pretty white. Oh, wait, oh my God, they're already turning yellow. They're changing color. I did not expect this. It's been about 30 minutes and wow, this thing has gotten even more yellow. The husks have completely dissolved. I thought that they would be here floating in the water, but they seem to have just kind of melted away. All right, now we're just gonna set this aside, cover it up, and let it rest overnight. And we're back. Welcome to day 2 of making masa. Now we just gotta remove the corn and give it a quick rinse before it's ready to grind. This rinse washes off the excess lime. Now we're gonna strain it one more time, and that should be the last of it. All right, let's get ready to grind. Let's get to grinding. Take a handful of corn. All right. Ugh. Oh, wow. This is gonna be hard. What's cool about this is that this is the actual volcanic rock they would use for the grinding. The surface is the perfect texture for this. Oh my God. Do we have enough for a tamal? It can be little to small. I can't imagine doing this for hours. All right. I could call myself a little bit of a masa master now. We've got a lot of masa that we can work with. Check this out. The texture is really something that you just can't imitate. This is stone ground, you know? It takes a lot of work to do this. And people have to do this every day for hours to feed each other. That's amazing. Now it's time to make our filling. We're going with turkey, a native of North America, and a tasty angry bird. This is 3.5 pounds of just straight up turkey breast. Oh, gonna need 2 hands. Okay, I hope it fits in the pot. Up next, we're gonna be adding some Mexican oregano. So we're gonna do a small pinch of this, and next, we're going to add specifically 4 whole allspice berries. Lastly, a hearty pinch of salt, and then enough water to cover the turkey breast. And cook it for about an hour. You just want it to be tender and, falling off the bone. Do a crossword, a hard one. That'll take like an hour. All right, now it's time to check on our bird. Whoa, that is a cooked looking turkey. It's time to start shredding. Now we're gonna save some broth to use later in the recipe. Okay. I have to say, making this filling has been a fulfilling experience. Our next step involves thickening our broth. To do this, it's actually pretty cool. First, we're gonna ladle out some of the broth, and then we're gonna thicken it using our masa. We're gonna give that a nice little stir and let it start to heat up. While that's heating up, we're gonna make our blend of herbs and spices. Small caveat, we don't know exactly what herbs and spices they would have used for their seasoning, so we're gonna go with peppercorn, salt, and achiote, which is wild. I've actually never cooked with this before. Let's grind up our peppercorn. A little pinch of salt, shebang, and all of our achiote paste. And blend it all together. That is such a gorgeous color. So we've got all of our elements. Now it's just time to bring them all together. So now we are in our tamal home stretch, everybody. It's only been a smooth 5 hours and we're getting closer. Oh wait, it's also been a full night of sleep. Wow, these take a minute. So our next steps involve going back to our turkey broth. We're gonna add about 3 tablespoons of liquid. On to the fun part. So, how many of you know what this is? This is a habanero pepper. It is one of the hottest peppers on the Scoville scale. Because of that, I'm gonna put some gloves on to ensure my safety. Okay, we're gonna slice it in half. Then we're going to remove the seeds. And now we're gonna chop it up just a little. And then place our pepper in our little brothy do. The most dangerous part of this whole meal is over. Next, we'll be adding an herb called epazote. Also give this a rough chop. Wow, voila. Now, we are gonna remove our gloves, avoid touching the board, and add, bye-bye gloves, all done with you. Just don't wanna let go. It's my show. Next, we're gonna add our seasoning. Ooh. Now we're gonna give it a quick little stir to kind of let it, saturate, get to know each other, mingle. Next, we'll be adding our tomatoes. Gonna give these a gentle stir. And then last but not least, we're going to add our turkey. We're gonna mix it all together and let these flavors marry. Ah, beautiful phrase. All right, look at that color. Oh, I wanna eat it so bad. And last but not least, we're gonna add our thickened broth. So we're gonna give this a hearty stir, set it aside, and then finally, we can start assembling our tamales. I gotta say, guys, making all that masa was a real grind. So here we are, the home stretch, the tamal finale. First, we're gonna wet our masa with broth. Your goal is to get it to the consistency of kind of a pie dough. Now, the masa itself is also pretty wet. It retains moisture really well. So if you look, it clumps together pretty easily. Okay, now we're gonna kind of knead it together. You can try lots of things, but don't use my kneading method. I'm not a good kneader. It's hard to express what you need. Right now, we have every element that we've been working with, and it's time to bring them all together. We've got our delicious looking filling, our great, totally worth the effort masa, our broth, which just seems to come in handy all the time, and now the final element, the banana leaf. Right now in its raw state, it's not as flexible. It's a little breakable, and that's really not something we want to work with. The trick is to take a banana leaf and gently run it over a very high heat. This makes it more pliable. Check it out. Oh, that is so cool. Careful not to burn it, or you. See? Huh? Whoa! What a bendy friend! Now it's time to finally assemble. We're gonna take a handful of our masa. We're going with a roundish shape, like Claudia mentioned. Now, we're gonna take our wrapper, place it matte side up, shiny side out, and then add our filling. I think theoretically you can kind of pinch it all together, but I'm just gonna put another layer of masa on top. I mean, this masa was a lot of work, so I'm gonna use as much of it as possible. Put a layer on top, and then kind of pack it all in. Let me just seal up these edges. Now it looks kind of like a biscuit. And voila, a little tamal ball. We're gonna place it in our leaf, flatten it just a touch, and then wrap it like a package. Hey, I mean, not so bad. It's kind of like the first pancake moment, you know? It's the experiment. Next, we're gonna take our banana leaf string, warm it up a little bit, and tie it all together. And voila! Set this aside, make some more, and then later, I'll show you how to steam it. Our last little tamal. Now, originally tamales were steamed underground. Unfortunately, since I could not dig a hole here, no matter how much I asked, politely, multiple times, we're gonna have to just pour some water in this pot and throw it in the oven. All right, let's get steamy. It's time for tamales. I could not be more excited to eat this. Let's see how they turned out. Oh, baby, baby. I can smell the corn, but then it's also got that floral hint coming from the banana leaf. Okay, oh, I mean, they look awesome, but frankly, we won't really know until we unwrap these bad boys. I gave it my all, and I got a tamal. Okay, nice. Okay, good. Wow. It's rustic tasting. It's a little earthy tasting, but it's really satisfying. Wow. I know I just keep saying wow, but I kind of love it. I think I like banana leaf wrapped tamales. The masa acts like its own part of the meal. I have to say that the modern day tamales I've had don't have as much masa flavor. It blends beautifully. My palate, super happy. What else is there to say besides, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Edible History. I hope that you, like me, never look at tamales the same way.